All right, welcome back to our studios, folks. After a little break after Wimbledon, not much of one though, because we had the random clay court swing in Europe here before we head to the North American hard courts. I've just been in here, my local town here in Switzerland, at the Gstaad Swiss Open Gstaad, covering an awesome tournament and getting to see an old friend, Dominic Thiem, come back and get some really good form. So the question of this video is going to be, is Dominic Thiem back? Is the Thieminator back in action? Is he going to be able to get back to the form that we saw him winning the US Open, etc.? So I got some questions to ask, and I'll try and answer them based on what I've seen here on the ground in Switzerland. So welcome to The Slice. Let's get into it. Well, thanks for being here, people. I have had the awesome pleasure of covering, like I said, the Swiss Open Gstaad. And that's how it's pronounced, by the way. It's Gstaad, not Gstaad or Gstaad. It's interesting, but it was a great tournament. Very cool setting right in the middle of a town. It's not like at a tennis center. It's just kind of like right on the main promenade of the town. So it was pretty cool. And it was a really stacked field, as you guys have probably hopefully seen on the YouTube. We've had did an interview with Casper Ruud earlier in the week. Berrettini was there. We did some clips with him. And the topic of this video, Dominic Thiem, was also there. So if you want some behind the scenes looks at that, join our Patreon page or join the channel here by clicking the link below. You'll get access to Europass, where you can also send in questions to ask, like I asked to Casper Ruud. So yeah, Dominic Thiem is back playing and winning, which is great. So in the Challenger in Salzburg, he won one match. In Gstaad, he won two matches over Ruusuvuori and then our Roberto Bautista Agut, two great wins. And then here in Gstaad, he won three matches before losing to Berrettini in the semifinals. But he made the semifinals, the first semifinals since Madrid 2021 on the ATP Tour. So a lot of fans, I've really seen it on Twitter, a lot of fans are being like so thankful to see Dominic Thiem back playing good tennis. And I had some amazing seats to be able to watch his one-handed backhand, down the line winners, cross-court winners, just crazy. It's one of the only, it's like one of the few shots on tour that literally gasps out of the crowd. It's like, think of when Carlos Alcaraz is ripping forehands, or Nadal's ripping forehands, obviously, or like Djokovic is playing like crazy defensive lobs or, gets. Dominic Thiem's backhand is one of those shots that literally people pay to see. It puts butts in seats. And that's why Dominic Thiem has been one of the absolute biggest stars in tennis for the last while. But Dominic Thiem's had a rough go of it. And I'll get into it about some of the comments he made here, but he was playing his best tennis in 2019, at the end of 2019, going into 2020, made the final of the Australian Open, was up 2-1 on Novak, and then later in the year, after they came back from COVID, which took away some time, took away the French Open being at its normal point, Dominic Thiem goes and wins the U.S. Open, which is crazy. So then he could have won the World Tour Finals that year as well, beat Djokovic there, beat him in 2019 as well. So Dominic Thiem is just one of the players that we all thought was headed to the top of the game, was going to be number one in the world, win multiple slams. And he can still do that, obviously, but things have changed. And he's obviously had this crazy injury last year after kind of having some mental health motivation lacks at the beginning of last year. So coming back from this injury has been an absolute biatch for him. As we've seen, I think it was 7 matches in a row that he lost. I was at one of them in Geneva a couple of months ago before the French Open, where he just didn't look anywhere near like what he didn't have that same pop, didn't have that same forehand control, aggression, bite to it. And then he went to the French Open and really played a lackluster match there. And we were all like, when is this going to turn around? So now, though, after not playing Wimbledon and then coming back and kind of making a fresh start with the comeback, he's played some at a better level. And that's been really good to see. So what I saw, as I said, I was able to be on court with him, literally standing on the court right beside Nicolas Massu, his coach, on the practice area, like kicking balls back to them, and just watching the main thing that we're looking for is on the forehand. He said the forehand has been the problem. That shot, in quote, he said, impressed. It's getting better and better and closer to what it used to be. And I could see that. I could see the acceleration up the back of the ball, that he's able to get the ball up with RPMs and get the ball down with those revolutions, and really be able to control the ball getting down into the court, into his spots where he was aiming, where 2 months ago he was not able to do that. The balls would fly, or he'd just have to kind of push it in, and on the ATP level, pushing it in is not going to get it done, and that's why we saw him losing to top guys. But now his forehand is able to hurt people, and I saw that in person. 3 matches he won. He beat Hugo Gstaad, slipped by in that one, had to save match point with an insane backhand up the line winner. And then he beat 2 other guys, Varilas and I forget the other person who he played. And then he played against Berrettini. Once he got into the rallies there with Berrettini after the huge Berrettini serve, he was able to do damage with the forehand and obviously the backhand, but he was able to hang with Berrettini, who's playing literally at like top 10, top 5 level. Definitely top 10, probably top 5 level, to be honest. So that's the main thing. Technically and physically, he told us there that his wrist is fine. So now it's just learning how to use it, remembering how to use it. And I think that the actual shot technique is there, and his shot control is where he needs it to be. Now it's just about winning matches, getting points back up. He's ranked, I think, 190 in the world right now. At the beginning of last week, he was like 270. So he's climbing in the right direction. So he's back on tour. He's back in a good way, as he would say.
On a good way.
But he still has a ton of work to do to get back to be where he wants, which would obviously be challenging for majors and winning majors. So the question for me is Dominic Thiem back? Yeah, he's back. I would say he's back. What I saw there is he's going to be able to challenge guys. He challenged Berrettini. He wasn't, super close. He was down a double break in both sets. He got 1 break back. But that was his worst match. He played his worst match of the tournament, I would say, in that. But I think he'll be able to challenge guys in the top 50 consistently now, and he's going to get protected ranking entries into tournaments. He's going to get wild cards into tournaments, and he is going to be back. As far as how far will this go, how high will he be able to get back to where he was, I think he could get back to where he was. I think that's a very reasonable expectation because he's got the game. He's 20. The one thing is he's 29 after the U.S. Open this year. He turns 29. So the COVID and his injury took like 2 years out of his career, which is crazy. Like he was winning the U.S. Open. I guess he was 26 still, or 20. 26 around there. So it's like kind of mid 20s. Now it's late 20s, but with the way these guys can train and the physios and all the stuff now, we saw with Stanislav Wawrinka, one-handed backhand, all 3 majors after the age of 30. So that he has the potential to get back and challenge for majors, absolutely. Will he ever become number 1? I don't know. I thought that, that was like, Daniil Medvedev kind of took the place where we thought Dominic Thiem was going to be, I think. So that's an up in the air. I'm not sure if he will, but I definitely think he'll be able to challenge for majors, and that's what he wants to do. So here's a clip of Dominic Thiem saying how much it meant to him and how much it means to his team to finally be getting some of this momentum back that he's been searching for so long. He talks about his family and he talks about his coach Nicolas Massu.
Nobody really talks about it, but also for them, it was a tough time. The injury, obviously, they were off for a long time, and also they were probably not sure when I can come back, when I'm back on a good way. So I think they also enjoy it a lot now that wins are coming back to give a lot of energy from outside, and for me obviously it's super important, and it's a big support. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we had unbelievable success together, and then we also came through a very tough time now, but I think that makes a good relationship now to also get through those tough times. And for him was not easy because he was not there a lot, obviously. I mean, he was home in Chile, not knowing how is my wrist, how is my progress, not able to do anything because, of course, he only started again when I was able to hit. So I guess that was a tough time for him, and I'm of course also super happy for him that that good results are coming back.
A lot of emotions there. I almost felt the emotions. I sat right behind his team watching one of his matches where he made the semifinals, and it was just like they were so eager and so good. So happy to see him back in a good way, as he would say. And fans, I feel like everyone is a fan of Dominic Thiem. Like, who could have a bad word to say about him? So yeah, the form that he's in means a lot to him. He's now in Kitzbühel playing again this week, with Ruud and Berrettini both pulling out of that. It honestly wouldn't shock me if he won that tournament, but we'll see. And he'll be looking to stack more wins back to back to back. That's the goal for him right now. As far as Dominic Thiem being back, I say he's back, but we're going to get to watch him rise up the rankings again and play that tennis that we all love to see. So anyways, let me know your thoughts. Let me know your questions. That's what I saw this week. I think his forehand is back. His serve is good, really big. He's got lots of kick on it, and the game that we know and love is getting quite back to where it needs to be. That's the slice on Dominic Thiem's comeback. Stay tuned for more. Thanks for subscribing and liking and getting down below in all the comments and the links below. Thanks, guys.